has been an exciting day here, GDC 2013, Wednesday. And we have one more guest for you today before we call it a night and come back tomorrow. And it's my buddy Alex. And Alex, you and I met last year, and you had just finished kickstarting your game Code Hero. And now it's a year later, and Code Hero is out, and we are going to check out the final finished version of the game. It's been a year since...
Well, the alpha.
The alpha.
Yeah.
The finished alpha?
Yes.
We're finished alpha.
Yeah.
That's right. Because when you actually, when you're an independent programmer, you're making your game independently, your dev cycles are different. The way things are released are a lot different. So let's jump in, man. Let's take a look at this game. So while you're logging in, why don't you give folks a gist about just like what your game is all about?
So if you look at all these quotes, I get a lot of people who come up to me who say, like, I love those quotes. And I ran into a girl here at GDC who said, I started game programming after playing Code Hero. Now I'm like a full-time CS student and I'm making games. And I want to make a game about how Hypatia, who is the Library of Alexandria head librarian, invented a machine that could calculate the positions of the stars. So her career is launched by the realization that she could change the world. And that's what the whole ethos of Code Hero is. You're going to become a Code Hero and change the world with that power that gives you.
Hack the planet.
That's the message. Hack the
There
planet.
you go. I'm quite familiar with that with that Noise Bridge quote.
So that's what those quotes are all about. And that's what the sort of the spirit of the game is.
So
and,
this is a game that teaches you how to make your own games.
Yeah, and a game that teaches you how to make games means that our mission is not just for you to play it, but for you to take the leap beyond this game when you're done with it and install Unity 3D and use the exact same code that you used here in Unity. Nice. Now, the setting of the game is really important, and it is a place called Gamebridge Unityversity. Now, if you've ever grown up like reading Harry Potter books or reading Dune was a big one for me, there's a common mythology in all of our lore and our fiction about the ultimate school, that opportunity to like become a hero, to be trained by the best.
Be the chosen wizard.
Right. And so we've created that feel with Gamebridge. And the purpose, we have a little thing here, about the alpha saying, this is under construction. But the purpose of this is to give you the sense that you're going to become a Code Hero. We have a little warning label, warning, contains entrepreneurship. Formation of startups may occur. And we have a big thank you to our Kickstarter backers up here. We have a whole bunch of panels with all the names of the backers.
Wow.
And the first person you meet is Ada Lovelace. And Ada Lovelace says, I was the first programmer of the first computer, and I will teach you your first coding. And that's why she's not just symbolically, but like historically, the right person to introduce the topic. So a lot of people will perceive that like programming, if they go to computer science, they're going to be surrounded by only guys. But it turns out that not only was programming, founded by women, Grace Hopper was another huge innovator who made the first understandable programming languages, but it's just not the case here at GDC. I've run into so many women who are game programmers in the industry or getting into it that it's important. We don't make things pink. We just show the fact that like women invented programming and are
so you get a history
awesome.
lesson along with it. You discover the history of coding while you're learning how to code, so you understand it pretty much from its beginning.
Yeah. So the tour that she takes you on is kind of 3 steps. And a lot of games have like a tutorial mode. This is your tutorial. It's the tour. And it's like if you were to go to Stanford and consider going to school, you would get kind of a tour. Like, what is this campus all about? Why would you want to go there? And these people on the wall, like Grace Hopper, are the Code Heroes of legend. So
it's kind of showing you what you have to live up to.
Yeah. And the first place you stop is called the arcade. And the point of the arcade is, okay, here's all these games made with Unity. And you're learning Unity. But where do you begin? And so we begin with something called the Labyrinth. And she basically says, good luck. Can they hear the audio from this?
Let's see. As far as I know,
I'm not sure if they can. Oh, they can hear it. Okay. So the whole point of the Labyrinth is that you're going to go in there, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get out. This is like not a lesson. This is a challenge. So you go in.
So it's like you have no idea how to code. Like, where do you begin? I think this is like how a lot of people feel. This is like a physical manifestation of what it's actually like.
Yeah. To
try and figure out how the hell do I even learn how to program games or make games? Because like I don't even think people realize that you can go to college to be a game developer.
Right.
And so this is kind of an interesting way to get people right into it.
Yeah, metaphorically speaking, people feel like it's like a locked gate and they just don't have the key. So your
visual metaphor.
Your first challenge is just, like any game, you get an object, the object unlocks the next step. That's what we're used to doing in games. Get the thing, get the result. But the next level challenges us with the situation that we can't solve just with the item alone. So here's dragons. They're called Pinata Dragons because we want young kids to play this. And it's like, the Pinata Dragons want you to hit them. That's part of their
That is
their
why
shtick,
they exist, is to
be hit. And we get a sword. And the first dragon's easy. It says, so the sword code will subtract 5 damage from the dragon's hit points, but the Dragon King has thousands of hit points. So this dragon goes down in 1 hit, but the Dragon King is not taking it. So we hit him, and it says you did 5 damage, you did 5 damage. He is not letting us in there. And until we figure out how to beat the Dragon King, we're not getting through. But it says to edit the dragon, press the Q key. So you hit Q.
You say you're coding like within 5 minutes of playing the game.
Right. And you hit Q, and if you've opened Unity before, you'll recognize these 4 buttons. And hitting QWER is the shortcuts to switch between move, rotate, resize. And the thing we say is click on the Dragon King. So you select the Dragon King, and then it says click the inspector. And you are looking at the Unity editor's same interface, but recreated within the gameplay of our game built with Unity.
So this is actually the specifics that you use to make this character. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the Dragon King object has these properties, also called variables, and these methods, also called functions. And the game just tells you, without giving you a lecture, it just says click hit points to edit it. And it's like, I don't think so. Let's give him 5 hit points and save that. And he's not so tough anymore. And so in a normal game, that would be a balance problem or a bug or hacking.
Or you'd have to wait for him to run the pattern and hit him 3 times or something like that.
But the point of Code Hero is that you're not playing by the rules, you're changing the rules with code. And so we give the player gameplay situations where, like Portal, you solve puzzles, but to solve them you have to cheat. And the next step beyond that is to actually take the concept of building and editing things. So Ada's sort of ready to give you the next step in the tour. And the goal is to produce a game of your own. So I'm going to skip over the library part of the tour, which goes through puzzles.
You're going to get us into the good stuff.
Yeah. There's also a whole section called the Historium, where you can meet Alan Turing and Charles Babbage, and this is the difference engine, which is like the first mechanical computer.
So it gives you a little more history on coding and like how computers have gotten to where they are today.
Yeah. Nice. And the second step is the Unity library, where you go in there. It's the Unity logo turned into a bunch of levels. And actually, I will show you one of these. Nice. So what we've done is we've taken the Unity API and made levels that teach it. So the basic idea is you have a code ray, and your code ray is your tool to manipulate the world. And so, for example, here's Hello World, and you click copy, and you've got it. And when you shoot the code, it appears in the console. So you're seeing the output in the bottom right and on this big screen from the code print Hello World. So it says, okay, change your code. So if you ever hit tilde in a game like Quake, you get a console. In those games, the console is optional. It's how you break the game. In ours, it is the game. So you change that to hero. And it says, okay, you made text appear. But don't worry, code's not boring. It also makes explosions. Nice. So we then give you physics. So like add force, transform forward 10,000. And your goal is to hit these blocks. So you blast the blocks apart. And it seems pretty easy, except that the big ones are not impressed. They weigh 10,000 kilograms. It's like the dragon with 1,000 hit points. So you got to punch up the force to get those bigger blocks to move out of your way, and then you can hit the bullseye.
Using the force is key in any game. Nice. So, like, what does Unity think of your game as a company?
Well, Unity is really focused on trying to expand the number of people that can use it, because they're already the most broadly used in schools and by indies. And they've been expanding a whole section of their site called /learn. So if you go to unity.com/learn, or unity3d.com/learn, they're really making a big effort. And Will Goldstone, who headed up that effort to build those tutorials for that, is a friend of ours. And we've also known the founders like David Helgeson and Joachim and Nick since Unity was a Mac-only game engine. So for them, this is a win because more people are going to be able to learn and get into Unity for the first time.
Nice. Nice. And now this is aside from being an interesting game that teaches how to code, this is like obviously an educational tool. So do you guys take this to schools and stuff and show it to kids, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people have asked us, since our Kickstarter gave us about $170K of which we were only able to use about 150 because, you know, Amazon and Kickstarter take a bunch. And we produced all this technology and the ability to edit the world and everything, but we don't have the game finished. So we're in a bit of a question, which is what should we focus on finishing first? What is the first audience that can make full use of this? And that is schools. So to make the game ready for schools, we're focusing on getting it ready for the September school year. That's kind of when our first like beta, you know, complete for schools version is targeted. And we're currently testing it, and we've been teaching hundreds of kids in classroom settings, like how to learn Unity and do game programming for the first time with this.
Nice.
So,
let's see. So, so September, are you looking to be in beta by September?
Yeah, that's the goal. And not just beta, but like in schools. So we're testing with schools over the summer. And I shouldn't say which schools, but lots of them. There's like many school systems that are trying to figure out a way to teach CS. The thing that we're advocating, because there's a lot of different ways to teach CS, a lot of people are doing experiments, is that shipping matters. And so...
Oh,
that's
the
okay.
sound has disappeared.
Sound's not that... Well, they can still hear us.
Well, they can hear us. The sound has completely disappeared.
All the sound.
Uh-oh. Here, let's try and fix that. If we can.